Well, I'm going to try to cover a lot of topics in this video, and I'm going to try to be fairly quick, but it's going to actually diverge into a few things. Although the title of this video is going to be AR-15, what will it be after it's born? Because, you know, one of the criticisms of the AR-15 is like it doesn't really have hunting purposes, or it doesn't have home self-defense purposes. Well, that's not true, because before this lower receiver is built out, and of course I have the flag of independence on here. Boy, they don't like that flag. That's why I love it. Anyway, but before this lower receiver is built out, it can actually be a number of things. Actually, the lower receiver for pretty much every caliber out there will be exactly the same, except for the hammer and spring if you're going up to the largest caliber, which would be the 50 BMG. But normally it's just an upper receiver change, or maybe a barrel change, or just a bolt carrier group change with a barrel change and a magazine change that makes a difference. In some cases it's just a barrel change where you can have a complete another different weapon from the 5.56. Normally this comes in a 5.56, but you can get the upper for it with the special magazines, and I think it's a different buffer spring. You can have it as a 22 long rifle. You can have it as a 9mm, which is not an over penetration round for home defense, or a 45 ACP. Just like these are both pistol rounds, you can actually build this rifle into. And actually the lower would be the same. Another one I like is the AR-47 variant, which is the AK-47 round, the 7.62 by 39mm. Now in the 123 grain projectile, it's very close to the 30-30, the old deer hunting round. So you can hunt deer with that sucker. The 300 Blackout, that was something developed by the military, and it's the same exact brass as the 5.56, same everything except for the barrel, same magazines and everything. You can have the 6.8 special purpose cartridge, which is by Remington, and the 6.5 Grendel. The Grendel's a little bit better than the Remington, came a little bit after, but it's that one is actually better than the standard hunting cartridge. It's a 7.62 by 51mm. When it gets out 250 yards, it's actually got more power. This can hunt any game. These two, and actually, the Blackout can hunt deer, and this can hunt deer, and the 5.56 can hunt deer, depending on your state. But I'm just talking just hunting purposes, because some people say there's no hunting reason for having a rifle for even hunting purposes. That's BS, because it can be made into all these different things. As a matter of fact, this 300 Blackout, like I said, same magazine, same cart, same everything except for the barrel change, and the ammo is the same brass as the 5.56. It's just open with wider mouth. You have a 50 Beowolf, which is a slow firing. That's actually a special purpose round. That's not around much. It's really for in lethal laws, it's the keys to genocide. This is written by Aaron Zellman, right? So originally Rabbi Aaron Zellman, Jews for the Preservation of Firearms Ownership. Today Rabbi Ben Dory is running the Jews for the Preservation of Firearms Ownership. I want to get onto this a little bit too, but the Beowolf is a slow firing round that can be silenced. It's more for, I guess you can have it for hunting purposes too, but the purpose was developed to be used with silenced weapons in the military. The BMG, that's a very, very powerful round. You can just take down an elephant with that thing. So you would an upper change. In that case, you would have to change the hammer and the spring. The hammer enhanced the spring. Otherwise, the lower is the same stuff for all these when you build out the lower. Now, I want to go over a couple other things too, because I put this out in another video. Florida Governor Rick Scott, gun control and mental health. They actually have it under permanent review. It's like neither it's either approved or disapproved. It's just under review forever, which means it's kind of like, you know, maybe I got a little on the edge with that as far as what they like, but you know, I told the truth. The word government comes from the Latin verb gubernere, to control, and the Latin noun mens, which means mind. So government means to control the mind. Okay, mental health is a method to enslave all. That's really what the hell it is. Mental health, as per the pharmaceutical the modern pharmaceutical industry, it's a method to slave all. Mental health for natural methods is great. You know, sunshine can raise your melatonin and also your dopamine in your mind. Frequencies can help improve your attitude. Coconut oil can raise the ketones in the brain to eliminate brain fog. There's also lecithin, which actually you make with the you know, your liposomal vitamin C, the homemade type stuff. You can use that. That helps. You need that for the brain function too. There's many things, even besides frequencies, that are just nutritional that can help improve the brain function, including positive attitude. So mental health is a good thing, but pharmaceutical mental health is a bad thing. And one thing I'll give you an example was Haldol, which they used in the Soviet Union. Soviet Union was developed in the 1950s. I think in the West, Haldol is a drug that you can use it in high doses combined with I think Ativan and Benadryl to create a mental lobotomy where you can actually halfway destroy people's minds. And they do that actually frequently here in the United States, just for the hell of it, because they don't want to bother freaking taking care of somebody or whatever the hell it is. But Haldol, it was also used in lower doses, whereby if you feel strongly about something, say you're a real believer in a certain type of religion, or maybe you have a high interest in engineering or cars, or maybe gardening, you will lose those interests, because Haldol is designed to keep you compliant, lethargic, and susceptible to anything the state tells you they want you to do. So modern day pharmaceutical mental health, which is really what should be the adjective over this, is a method to enslave all. Mental health, normally, when you're talking about the natural way, positive psychiatry, let's put psychology, because psychiatry is drugs, positive psychology, frequencies, sunshine, good nutrition, you know, anything that raises the ketones in the brain is going to help you out a lot. Well, you know, it's a great thing. I'm all pro that, you know. I'm not anti-mental health, but modern mental health is a racket. It's a method to control, and it's what the state is using against you. Along with Rick Scott, because Rick Scott has, I still think he has his fingers in the HCA, Hospital Corporation of America. They control most of the hospitals in Florida. So they have two laws in Florida called the Baker Act and one called the Marchman Act. Baker Act is, you know, if you get an argument with your wife or your kid gets an argument with you, cops come by, they Baker Act you, and they steal your guns or some crap, you know, because that's how they make their money. The police actually make most of their money. They make 60% of their money by confiscation and fines. 40% comes from taxes. So they, you know, it's sort of like, you know, you're guilty without any due process, and the due process is all in favor or against you, costs you money, and, you know, just makes them money. So due process is even a bunch of BS too, in reality, because, you know, if you can't afford due process, you don't have due process. And the attorneys they have for the state are total garbage, so that you get appointed to are garbage. But that's a side note. And also they have a Marchman Act. The Marchman Act in Florida is something whereby, I don't know, if you smoke some weed or something, I don't do any weed, I don't drink, I don't smoke cigarettes or anything. But say, I don't care if people smoke weed, you know, fine with me. You can drink beers, do whatever you want. That's another thing where they incarcerate people against their will because of the Marchman Act in Florida, where they drug them for pharmaceuticals. That's another method to push gun control, because then you're barred from buying weapons and all this garbage like that because of, you know, this system, which is fraudulent in itself, and it's heavily geared towards getting people ensnared in it because it's profitable for people on the top, and Rick Scott is all connected to it on the top. He's a crooked Republican. Gun control, gateway to tyranny, the Nazi weapons law of March 18, 1938. The Nazi weapons law was actually taken almost verbatim, enshrined into New Jersey law in 1966 with the Arthur Sill law, who was the district attorney, state district attorney in New Jersey, and also into national law in 1968. Senator Thomas Dodd Sr. had a copy of this law, translated from German and put into English, and thereby, you know, it's enshrined in our law. The thing with the you know, registration, also whereby they also introduced the sporting purposes clause. Well, I just want to put out right here, make it very clear, the AR-15 is extremely sporting purposes. So they don't even have an argument there. They don't have an argument because it's the only weapon that could be a long 22 long rifle for like a little rabbit hunting. It could be a 9mm 45 self-defense or various types of small game, 5.56, an AK round, the 300 Blackout, the 6.8 Remington, the 6.5 Grendel, the 50s and the 50s. It could be built into anything. So, and it could be changed into anything with just an upper swap. So it's the most sporting weapon going, even from that angle. No argument, hands down. Lethal laws. Gun control is the key to genocide, and there has never been a genocide where there was not installed gun control first. Now, quite obviously, what's going on with a lot of these shootings, you know, even though I don't subscribe to the theory that there was nobody was killed. I mean, these people are freaking lunatics when they're telling you this stuff, when they're going down conspiracy trail number 101 with all these mass shootings. But I know they're augmented with professional mercenaries. They might not even be USA mercenaries. They could be, though. So when people get used to killing, they don't care who the hell they kill as long as they get the money for it. And but they're pushing an agenda to scare the public. Most of the public's not buying into it, but when you see the major media is pushing something, you know that powers be want to freaking disarm the entire United States, right? Well, if they're killing people to do this and making these events happening and augmenting them with professional shooters, well, you know they will do this in the future because they want your real estate, your land. They want all your holdings. Everything you freaking worked for all your life. They want that. Get rid of the people, you take that. This is originally written by Rabbi Aaron Zellman, and today Rabbi Ben Dori is running the Jews for the Preservation of Firearms Ownership. There are very much staunch defenders of the Second Amendment in the Jewish community, and I always like to remind them that Confederate flag is not a symbol of hate. As a matter of fact, that Confederate flag flew with our troops, Southern troops, who were descendants and grandsons, or even great-grandsons, or even sons in some cases, against the Nazis who fought to free the Jews from the Germans in the death camps. These were descendants of people who fought for independence in the Confederacy. There's a lot of analogies between South Italy and North Italy, and South USA and North USA. This flag is actually flown a lot, even in South Italy, for that reason. I like to make correlations between even the Jewish tax revolt of 68 to 70 AD and Masada. You know, what happened at Masada? Were you going to defend against, were 900 Jews going to defend against 15,000 Romans for many years with sticks and stones? No, they had the best weapons of the day. That's what you need. But, you know, this is a very, I like this weapon. It's like if you really go to town and you make this the Cadillac, you build it into the Cadillac of the AR-15s, you could actually have it where it doesn't have that gas tube that comes down where the gas actuates the bolt carrier group. It gets, you know, the dirty residue on a bolt carrier group, which is not a problem unless you're doing many thousands of rounds and you don't keep the weapon lubed. You can have it where there's a piston rod coming down here, and you can have it where all the gas actuation is going on here in the upper receiver, and it's very much akin to the AK-47 mechanism. You can actually make this rifle like that. And if they ever made stainless steel uppers and lowers and you did that mechanism, you'd have a weapon that's, I don't know, you'd have the best of the AK-47 attributes along with the best of the AR attributes. So, but you know, even so, when you build this out, this is a very good weapon. But it is very versatile. It does all these calibers. There's even more. There's a 25 millimeter caliber I didn't mention on here. Actually, I'm going to tell you, the military is stupid. They really are. This was a dumb, They got 30 caliber on the brain. 30 caliber is not a very good ballistic coefficient. I know, yeah, it's better than the 5.56 for short distances in certain applications, right? Depends. It depends. Depends on a lot of things. But they would have been better off making a 6.2 millimeter, like around a, I don't know, 25 caliber. That would have had a better ballistic coefficient. You know, but I don't know. They're just idiots. They all, I mean, pretty much everybody in the military I've ever freaking came across is a freaking moron. I was in the military. I was in the Marine Corps for 13 years. I'm glad I went in there, because I went in there originally just to go in there because, you know, I was near the age where if I didn't go in there, I wouldn't be able to go in there. Most of my family was in the military, so I went in the Marine Corps. And I wound up being there longer. But, you know, after being in it a long time, God, I realized anybody goes from 15 years to 20 years or past that, most of them are crap. And they will sell you right down. They're close to the guy. They're not much different from this guy right here pointing a gun at that little kid. They follow orders. Me, I follow orders on the surface, and I bust them when they freaking turn their back. Because I got a conscience. So I didn't stay in there, man. I didn't stay in there. I like these guys, the Confederates, because they're fighting for their own homelands. That's all that was about. They broke away over taxation issues. I know they gave a phony reason over slavery, but the North didn't care about slavery. That was a fake reason. And of course, the North came down and freed the slaves, just like Janet Reno freed the kids in Waco. You know what happened, right? Same result. So, North didn't give a crap. But again, government. And I don't want to knock on mental health. Mental health, actually, I like that subject of mental health. I hate the pharmaceutical, psychiatrist, drug dealers. I hate them. I'm very pro mental health. I always play, like for my cats, all the time inside. Maybe you can hear it in the background. I don't know if you can, but the healing music, that's good for them. Well, I love that. It mellows them out. I hear it all the time too. I got it playing all the time. There's a lot of cool stuff with mental health. I hate pharmaceutical mental health. But then again, how come they don't let people smoke some weed? Isn't that freaking good for your mental health sometimes? I would say yes, resoundingly so. But that would get you on the Marchman Act, another racket Rick Scott's all involved with. And that would, screw you up with gun control. And the NRA is definitely not your friend. Join this group, Jews for the Preservation of Firearms Ownership. I'm not Jewish, okay? I mean, yeah, in a way, I lean very Jewish, but I'm not Jewish formally, okay? But, and Gun Owners of America. The NRA pushed for the weapons, the 1968 Gun Control Act, back in the NRA did. And in the 90s, they pushed for this National Instant Background Check, which is going to get greatly added to with all the bull crap they're going to be doing with mental health. They're going to have mental health in all the schools, all the colleges. If you question the government, you got opposition to defiance disorder, you got a problem. Here's some meds. Take some of this so you don't care about anything. You see what I mean? The NRA is not in your friend. They're so pro law enforcement too. I mean, law enforcement is about as honest as the average person, which I think the average person is generally honest, but law enforcement is not on a pedestal just because they freaking put on a uniform. Because if you believe that, then you could believe that these guys back here are good guys. Now, I'm not going to knock the average German soldier, but the guy that's pointing the weapon at this little kid, he's a piece of scum, okay? Just following orders. And you know what that led to? Right there. And these guys are the ones, their descendants are the ones that freed this kid. I don't know if that kid survived. I forgot. I read the story on it before. But anyway, over and out. That's all I got to say. Hope YouTube likes this video. And look at my other video that they don't like. I'm not sure if they like it or not. They're up in the air. They're flipping a coin. They're still trying to figure out if it's advertiser friendly or not. But look at this video. Florida Rick Scott. I'll put a link down here because I went into detail on a lot of stuff there too. Anyway, over and out.